What up, my fellow NBA lovers? This is your guy, Marcellus Ease. You know, David Griffen, the president of basketball operations down in New Orleans, has had a bad start in his Zion Williams experiment. Now, the NBA right now is banking on Zion Williams to be the next figurehead of the league, especially when LeBron James is on his way out. But David Griffen is in a very unique position because he has to sort of build this team up while at the same time the Pelicans ownership do not like to dip into the luxury tax. Now there's a lot of new owners coming into the NBA, especially into the small market teams. As we see, the Memphis Grizzlies has a tech owner, same thing for the Utah Jazz, and they're willing to spend money. And this offseason, we'll see teams like the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns actually spend money, in which those franchises normally don't do that. But due to the landscape of the league, a lot of these teams have to dip in and start spending money in order to stay competitive. Now, so far, David Griffen is 0 for 2 with the coaching hire with Stan Van Gundy. As a lot of players in the team, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williams, they do not like the fit, the style of the coach. And also, he struck out in the players that he picked. Eric Bledsoe is not working out. He's taking up a lot of cap space. And same thing for Steven Adams. The floor spacing with him on the floor along with Zion Williams does not work. You guys check out this segment, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
The Pelicans made a bit of a surprising move yesterday as they parted.
Look at Stan Van Gundy right there, man. He reminds me of one of these Catholic school nuns. They got to be in full control of everything. And I remind you, remember that season that he had down in Miami, in which Pat Riley had to come down and take over and end up winning a championship because Stan was just all over the place. And I've seen players like Gilbert Arenas, Dwight Howard all talk about his style of leadership. He sort of micromanages everything, and then he wants one particular figurehead, meaning the superstar, to kind of deviate the task among the other players. But the other players end up not respecting that superstar because they know all the commands come straight from Stan.
With Stan Van Gundy. He only coached the Zion Williamson-led team for just one season as they failed to even make the play-in tournament at 31-41. New Orleans will now enter another offseason looking for the right candidate to coach their young team led by the All-Star. Shannon, your opinion, was this the right move to fire Stan Van Gundy after just 1 year?
No, Skip, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, what did you learn about Stan Van Gundy in the 1 year of coaching that you didn't know?
They learned that Zion Williams' peoples, particularly his family members, are saying that they don't like the style of coaching that Stan provides. And you know, when they're talking about it, they're also talking for Zion at the same time. So the Pelicans do have to pay attention. A lot of these small market teams are not used to having superstars. The same thing happened down in Orlando when they first started as an expansion team and they had Shaq. They just did not know how to react as far as having a mega superstar on the team. Even the way they approached Shaq and his contract and renegotiation, it kind of was not smart of them to lowball him because he just went to another spot and got the big deal off rip.
Watched him coach in Miami. You watched him coach in Orlando. He is what he is.
Detroit, yep.
Skip, he is what he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what you thought you were going to get. Skip, there's a saying in politics that says socialism works until you run out of other people's money. Now, David Griffin has spent $5 million to fire Alvin Gentry. He just spent $15 million to fire Stan Van Gundy.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like the new hustle in the NBA. A lot of these guys, man, they could act like the superstar players now, the coaches. They could just bitch and complain and get out of their deals, but they're going to still get paid in the back end.
Now, there was an article earlier this year in which J.J. Redick said, players, don't y'all trust David Griffin? David Griffin is finding out. You know, since he's been away from Cleveland, he's taken his chances to take an opportunity to take shots at LeBron. But what we're starting to see, he's not as good as we actually thought.
Yo, you know, Shannon caping for his boy LeBron. But he's right, man. There's a lot of moves David Griffin has already flopped on, but he did spend a lot of money already outside of the coaching hire. He has about $35 million in cap space left to Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe. So he's going to have to figure out what he's going to do with that. And I'm pretty sure he's going to have to begin to start levying all them damn draft picks that they got to get some talent and to get rid of Bledsoe and Steven Adams because they do not fit.
But he don't have LeBron and Kyrie.
I will agree with that.
You know, he's about, well, LeBron, the way LeBron was trying to build a team, it won't work. It doesn't have longevity. Well, hell, you get an opportunity to build a team and it's not working because you fired 2 coaches in 2 years.
Yeah.
Skip, I get it. In today's game, you got to be a coach. You got to be a therapist. You got to be a gamer. You got to talk Fortnite. You got to talk Grand Theft Auto. You got to do all that kind of stuff.
Totally.
And most importantly, you got to hire the right people. Also, David Griffin had made a switch with the medical staff down in New Orleans because they had major issues with Zion Williamson last season, as we've seen it play out in the bubble when Zion had left the bubble for anonymous reasons. And they kind of made it up saying it's a family excuse, but low-key Zion was beefing with the medical staff. And also, Zion's family believes that the New Orleans Pelicans are not set up to handle a mega superstar as Zion Williams. They're saying that the standard does not fit a superstar of his stature.
Now, these players now, Skip, they on some other stuff.
Yep.
And so it's getting more and more like the old guard of coaches.
Agreed.
It's really maybe not resonating because we see, especially with a young team. Now, you see Steve Nash, he get veteran guys. You get young guys, Ty Lue, he got a veteran ball, you know, when he was with Cleveland, had a veteran ball club. But when you get guys that are 21 and 20 and 22 years of age, Skip, it's a different. But I still don't believe you've seen enough from Stan Van Gundy in 1 year.
Yeah, but Stan has that reputation. Stan has a mega reputation among players, even among veteran players. You guys, Dwight Howard, players like Gilbert Arenas, Dwayne Wade. He's a panicky coach. He's kind of over the top and he's very demanding, but it's not going to really equate to respect. I think that's the major issue with Stan Van Gundy. But low-key, he's been definitely beefing with David Griffin also. They don't see eye to eye on how to run this team.
He said, you know what? My best player is Zion. I need to find ways to get him the ball more, Skip. Hell, why not just give him the ball and say, you bring the ball up?
Uh-huh.
Their problem is not, I don't think it was Stan Van Gundy. They don't want to play no defense.
Bingo. That's what Stan Van Gundy loves to do. He's having major issues getting these guys to play defense. Brandon Ingram, Alonzo Ball. This team is way too young for a coach like Stan Van Gundy. And once again, that comes to David Griffin. That comes down to you, man. It's definitely your fault. I don't understand with this coaching hire. Once I seen it, I was like, nah, it's a little questionable. Because a lot of these players right now, they're in their mode of just trying to get accolades. They're trying to get trophies, individual awards. These young players right now are not really about winning games night in, night out, and playing a style of basketball that's team-oriented so it can result in winning.
Zion don't want to play defense. Brandon Ingram don't want to play defense. I mean, you got a couple of guys, Bledsoe could play defense. Josh Hart, he got injured, plays defense. Lonzo plays defense. But for the most part, Skip, the offense, they ain't have no problem scoring. It's stopping the other team from scoring. But I don't believe 1 year was enough.
Okay. What did I tell you from...
You know what? Here's another thing also. David Griffin probably got rid of Stan Van Gundy quickly like this because the Pelicans only control Zion's fate for about 3 more seasons. So they're going to control his contract situation, who he's playing for, which he's most likely going to be playing for them because his rookie scale contract lasts about 3 more years. So they have to get things right away. And also, I'm pretty sure there's pressure coming down from the rest of the NBA as far as to getting Zion prepared to be on the main stage as LeBron makes his exit due to Father Time.
First day, this was reported.
You said he wasn't the right hire.
Wrong guy, right place. Stan Van Gundy isn't just old school. He's like nerdy old school. And I kept describing him as this sort of naggy, whiny, I'm going to use an old school term, fuss budget, where he...
AKA a cat to school nun. This guy, I can't believe David Griffin hired this type of guy for all these young 20-year-old guys that just came in the league, that's just trying to, have fun, trying to, build their game up on an individual basis. These guys are not ready yet for that type of style of coaching because they're not yet focused on winning games as a unit. They're kind of focused on winning individual awards, most improved player, maybe rookie of the year, MVP. They want all-star appearances. These guys are trying to get their endorsement deals up. This is not a good fit at all.
just constantly just fingernails on your chalkboard in the locker room. Dwight Howard in Orlando used to make fun, do impressions of Stan.
And Dwight Howard left Orlando because of Stan. He wanted Stan fired. And at first they were, reluctant to do so, but then they end up firing Stan. And Dwight Howard's dumbass end up leaving anyway, but Stan was a major issue.
I get it that he knows basketball, but with these kids, I knew what was going to happen sooner than later. That Zion and Zoe and B.I. and Josh Hart and Jackson Hayes were just going to tune him out, because it's not like he's trying to impose his will on you.
Right.
Because he's not that dominant of a personality. It wasn't like my way or the highway.
Right.
He's just nagging on you to try to do this and try to do that until you just tune him out. And Bledsoe in that one sideline huddle made a boneheaded play at the end of the game, and he just clearly, he wasn't even listening to what Stan was saying in the huddle. So I thought it was wrong from the start, and their body language told you wrong, 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 because that team at least should have been the 8th-spot playoff team.
Or at least to play in.
31-41?
Yeah.
And do you know how many leads this team blew?
Yeah, they blew
Speaking
them.
of blown leads,
Right.
it seemed like every other night, because I'm watching every game because it's must-see TV.
Right.
They're blowing another lead. They had no idea what they were doing in fourth quarters because he couldn't reach them. So it was a bad hire, which should reflect on David Griffin.
Yes.
So Woj yesterday, I saw it reported that they began to clash, David Griffin and Stan Van Gundy, because David Griffin is saying, I didn't really know him because I hadn't even met him until the interview process.
Okay.
Damn, but it was good enough to hire him? God damn. Like I said, Stan Van Gundy, David Griffin, and Zion's family, they're having major clashes, and they got to get this right quick, because Zion, he was acting a little too cute during that Knicks game, especially that press conference. And right now, like I said, the league is putting pressure on the Pelicans to get this right, because they're trying to bring Zion into the fold as LeBron James makes his exit eventually.
Well, that's on you.
Yes.
Right?
But Skip, that's normally how it works. I mean, most of the time when you hire somebody, you don't know them. That's the
Right, but
interview.
unless you had a relationship
Right,
or
right.
you had worked with him somewhere.
Or you get a situation.
Or you could even look up their reputation, as they do in most jobs. When you guys apply, they call people your references so they can get an idea of your personality and your history.
Like Sean Marks
Right.
and with Steve Nash,
Yeah,
where they
well,
play together
play
so they're
together.
familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, there's sometimes, Skip, you do get familiarity where a guy was in a situation, or Elton Brand. I'm sure Elton Brand and Doc Rivers had crossed paths at some point in time in their careers. Doc played in this league, coached in this league for a number of years. Elton Brand was a player in this league. Elton Brand was Rookie of the Year, but an All-Star.
He was.
So I'm sure
I was there in Chicago when he was.
Yeah, so I'm sure they've crossed paths at some point in time. But Skip, why do you say that now? Well, I ain't really know him. So why'd you hire him? Just because you didn't have to hire him because you interviewed him. That makes you. I don't know if he knows this, Skip, but that makes David Griffin look even worse.
Totally agree. And Mrs. Benson, who's overseeing this, has got to start saying, well, wait a second. Did we get rid of the wrong guy? Or the
you spending the hell out of my money.
Right.
And Miss Gail Benson, she inherited the team from her husband, who died about in 2018. So they're kind of hands off, but they're very small market minded. They're sort of taking that NFL approach, because they do own the Saints and everything is about the team, the logo, but the NBA doesn't really work like that. It's about the superstar. So I'm assuming that Gail's making major adjustments, because they sort of have to accommodate Zion Williams and understand that they have a star and they got to cater around him. Once again, Zion's family said the standard in New Orleans is not up to par of having a mega superstar, Zion Williams. This is not a good start.
Because ain't no repercussions.
Okay, so I'm a big Chauncey Billups fan.
Okay.
Know him, like him, believe in him. He's doing really strong, solid, good things.
Right.
A little bit behind the scenes under Ty Lue with the Clippers.
Telling the guys to put,
you know Chauncey from your Denver days.
Yeah.
I believe he could be a really good head coach in this league.
I do too.
So I would recommend him for this group of young players. I think he could work wonders with these guys.
I definitely believe you probably a guy that can relate to him, Skip, and you're probably going to have to, put the film study, you have to put it in the PlayStation and watch it on the big screen like that and give them game controllers or something like that. Because these kids are different these days, Skip.
But I think they would listen to Chauncey in ways they would never listen to Stan Van Gundy. And yet, in the end, is it possible New Orleans has a David Griffin problem?
Yes.
Because could Chauncey deal with David Griffin? Because you also have to play both games. You got to deal with the kids, but you got to deal with your superior.
I don't know, Skip. Another coach coming in, he's thinking about firing him. I think Miss Benson might get rid of him.
Maybe.
Yep. Once again, that family, They're not into the business of dipping into the luxury tax and spending a lot of money on their teams, particularly, especially down in New Orleans. The Pelicans mostly benefit out of other teams dipping into the luxury tax and that shared revenue. So she's probably going to be wondering why is all this money spent and we're not even spending it on players. We're just spending it on coaches. And once again, David Griffin is in a gray area because he has to improve this team while at the same time not dipping into too much of a luxury tax or at the luxury tax at all. While at the same time, the rest of the league, particularly the small market teams, they're getting new ownership, guys from tech companies that are willing to spend money to get these teams going.
Because, Skip, at the end of the day, you remember that game? The Pelicans had a 3-point lead. The only thing you beat you is tied you.
I was going to say, this is the Eric Bledsoe game. Right?
But that was Zoe that got caught between the guys driving.
He got caught. Yeah.
And he kicks it to him and then boom.
I know, I got it.
All right, well, they got to figure something out there because, like you said, Shannon, a lot of that money is just going in the trash.
Yeah.
And it definitely is going in the toilet. But David Griffin does have a wild card in his pocket. It's all them damn draft picks that they got. They can't obviously keep all these guys because the Pelicans are not going to be willing to spend that type of money once these guys hit their 4th or 3rd year. So at the end of the day, he's going to have to package some of these picks to get rid of Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams' contract because they do not fit. And they're going to have to get more polished guys. So this offseason is going to be very all eyes on David Griffin to see what moves he's going to make. Because at the end of the day, Gail Benson, the owner of the Pelicans, she's not going to be willing to keep dishing out all this cash. So we'll see how this plays out. Zion Williams kind of puts this team on notice, especially through all the comments to his family members. It is what it is. Until next time, you guys stay safe. Peace.